All right, welcome everyone. I'm so glad you're joining me for today's explainer because we have a genuinely fascinating journey ahead of us. We're going to take the ultimate zoomed-in look at the absolute foundation of living things, and then we're going to zoom all the way out to see how those tiny microscopic cell structures connect to the massive, real-world agricultural systems that actually feed our planet. It's an incredible look at how the micro heavily influences the macro. So grab your notebooks, get focused, and let's get right into it. Here's our roadmap for today. Number 1, the foundation of life. Number 2, inside the plant cell. Number 3, agriculture and plant science. And 4, essential biology vocabulary.
Starting with Section 1, the foundation of life.
We literally cannot talk about complex ecosystems without first understanding this, the cell. Every single living thing is constructed from these basic functional units. It's pretty incredible to think the cell was discovered way back in 1665 by a guy named Robert Hooke. And here's a fun fact for you. He thought they looked like the tiny square rooms that monks slept in, which is exactly why he named them cells. Makes perfect sense, right? Now, in biology, we love to organize things to make them easier to digest. Cells are broadly broken down into 2 primary categories, based entirely on their structure. On one side, we've got prokaryotic cells. These are your simpler organisms, like bacteria. And on the flip side, we have eukaryotic cells. These are the much more complex cells, and this is the category where plants, animals, and humans all fall into. To help you memorize this, here is a quick little cheat code pulled right from our biology notes. Pro means small, simpler cells with no distinct nucleus. Eu, on the other hand, means big, larger, complex cells with a clearly defined nucleus. So pro is small, eu is big. Seriously, write that down. It might just save you on a test. Moving on to Section 2, inside the plant cell. Think about what makes a plant capable of just sitting in the blazing sun all day, standing totally tall, and creating its own food. If we look at the structural differences here, the plant cell on the left has this rectangular, rigid, almost brick-like shape. But the animal cell on the right, it's rounder and softer. Honestly, more like a water balloon. And that difference is definitely not an accident. So what actually gives the plant cell that rigid brick structure? Well, it comes down to 2 things, a cell wall and chloroplasts. Animal cells have neither of those. The cell wall provides the toughness the plant needs to stand tall without having a skeleton, and the chloroplasts, well, we're going to see why those are absolutely vital in just a second. If we zoom even closer into our cell structure, right past that outer membrane, we find the cytoplasm. The cytoplasm is this really fascinating jelly-like fluid inside the cell, where all the major biochemical reactions happen. And floating right there within this jelly are the organelles. Think of organelles as specialized mini-organs. Just like your body has a heart and lungs doing specific jobs, a cell has organelles doing all the microscopic heavy lifting. Let's look at one of the most famous organelles out there, the mitochondria. You've definitely heard the famous phrase, and it is completely true. It's the powerhouse of the cell. This is the universal energy generator. Whether you're looking at a plant cell or an animal cell, the mitochondria is responsible for producing ATP energy, which gives the cell the actual, literal power it needs to function and survive. But here is where plants become truly special. Let's focus in heavily on the chloroplast. Remember, this one is found only in plant cells. This specific organelle contains a green pigment called chlorophyll, and it is the exact microscopic location where the absolute magic of photosynthesis happens. It's basically a tiny solar panel that captures sunlight, mixes it with water and carbon dioxide, and produces food for the plant. Without the chloroplast, life on Earth as we know it simply wouldn't exist. No way. And before we leave the plant cell, we absolutely have to mention the vacuole. This organelle is basically a massive storage center for materials. While animal cells do have tiny vacuoles, plant cells have notably huge ones. They need these massive storage spaces to hold water and nutrients. In fact, when the vacuole is full of water, it pushes against that rigid cell wall we talked about, which is exactly how a plant stem stays firm, upright, and healthy instead of just wilting over. All right, Section 3. Agriculture and plant science. So, how do we take this microscopic knowledge of organelles and actually use it to feed billions of people? Well, understanding basic plant cell biology creates entirely distinct, massive fields of study. We've got agronomy for land crops, floriculture for flowers, and hydroponics, which is this futuristic water culture where plants grow without soil. All of these massive industries depend completely on cell biology. Let's start with agronomy. This is the big one. This is the science of agricultural land and crop plants. When agronomists are out working in massive fields trying to increase crop yields, what they're really doing is trying to optimize the efficiency of those tiny chloroplasts we talked about earlier. By understanding how a crop plant makes food via photosynthesis, agronomists can ensure the world has enough wheat, rice, and corn to survive. But beyond basic crops, human innovation has taken the foundational rules of botany and applied them in some truly fascinating new ways. Our notes highlight floriculture, which is a science of blooming and ornamental plants, and hydroponics. This is where the science gets incredibly creative, actually taking the plant out of its natural environment and manipulating the variables to completely maximize growth. Hydroponics is a prime example of modern agricultural advancement. By understanding cellular biology, scientists realize a plant doesn't actually need dirt. It just needs the nutrients and the water that the dirt holds. So in hydroponics, they bypass the soil entirely. Because scientists know exactly what the cell's vacuole and roots need to function, they can deliver a perfect nutrient-rich water solution directly to the roots. This allows crops to be grown indoors, right in the middle of concrete cities, or even up on the International Space Station. It's wild. And finally, Section 4, Essential Biology Vocabulary. We've gone all the way from 17th century microscopes to modern soilless farms. So let's rapidly review our microscopic foundations to lock them in for your exams. The cell is your fundamental building block. Eukaryotic refers to the big, complex cells like plants and animals that have a clear nucleus. The cell wall is that tough outer layer unique to plants. The chloroplast is the exclusive site of photosynthesis where light becomes food. And the mitochondria is the powerhouse providing that crucial ATP energy. Moving to our macroscopic applications in broader terms, the cytoplasm is that jelly-like fluid inside the cell where all the biological reactions take place. Zooming out, agronomy is the vital science of managing land and crop plants to feed us all. Floriculture is the specialized cultivation of flowers. And finally, hydroponics is the cutting-edge science of growing plants entirely in water, completely bypassing soil by applying our deep cellular knowledge. And that brings our biological journey to a close for today. We started out looking at a tiny box under a microscope, and we ended up exploring how to grow food without soil. It really goes to show how every massive breakthrough in agriculture starts with a deep, deep understanding of the microscopic world. So here's a question to leave you with. As our global population keeps growing, will the next major breakthrough in human survival come from discovering massive new fields of land or from manipulating a single microscopic plant cell? Keep that curiosity alive, keep studying those notes, and I will see you in the next explainer.